Hello, and welcome to the Color Me Shade podcast. It is a podcast that allows you to recreate your canvas by gently brushing new color of life into your future. The Color Me Shade podcast was created to assist you into transforming yourself into the beautiful masterpiece you know you are meant to be. Here we believe that every shade tells a story, and every story has the power to change lives. So get ready to be inspired, uplifted, and empowered as we embark on this colorful journey together. Let's paint a new vision with positivity and purpose. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Color Me Shade podcast. I'm so sorry for the late episode. I have been rewriting, and every time I thought that I had it just right, I was like, one more idea. But all the information I'm gonna put in other episodes. This episode is definitely going to be revisited a couple of times. And then I didn't procrastinate. I had a lot going on. I moved my daughter away to college to her first apartment. This is year 2 for her, and I'm just super excited for her. 2 more years and then we'll have a college graduate. I'm super proud of her. And that all ties into this. Because as I was preparing to move her to college, the one thing that I noticed that she had that I felt like I didn't have was choices. Was able to make her own opinion on what she wanted to do, where she wanted to go, who she wanted to be. And she always had that choice. I can remember when she was in middle school and she wanted to put on some lip gloss and eyeshadow. And I was like, go ahead, girl. Go ahead and learn this. And I was thinking back at her age when I had wanted to learn how to do makeup and put my clothes on the way I wanted to. I just remember just having a lot of shame about being who I wanted to be. And I was just so excited. I'm always so excited to watch her because she gets to have a choice in who she is. And that's what today's episode is about. It's about being you and stripping away all the expectations that came with you not being able to be who you are and who you wanted to be. So let's just dive right into this conversation. Today's conversation is about stripping away the preconception of who people think you are and the quiet lies you've been telling yourself about who you are. Stripping away means tearing down the walls, releasing the fears, and asking the real question. If you become who you want to be, will you disappoint others? Will you still keep yourself caged? And what does life look on the other side? And let's be honest, the other side is scary. Sometimes it starts as a blank page. You wake up and realize you're left trying to rebuild and recreate the person you see in the mirror every single day. When I think back to myself as a little girl, the things I do now, writing, journaling, reading, creating, those were always inside of me. I always wanted to write a book. I always practiced reading out loud and making my words come to life. But that part of me was stripped away because it felt like just an idea. It wasn't what I thought other people wanted for me. And I know you can relate. Just like me, you may have lived under the title of other people handed to you. Maybe you were the family babysitter, the family do-girl, the responsible one, the one always on call when the family needs something. You said you had a life, but deep down you know it wasn't true. And when you finally tried to create a life of your own, everyone suddenly had a problem with it. Those days of constant responsibility turned into nights when you just wanted to be out with your friends, enjoying yourself. And somehow your joy became a big inconvenience. You didn't get to fully enjoy your childhood. You didn't get to dream beyond the constant question of how can I help the family? How can I support the family? So when you finally stripped away that identity, when you stopped being who you were in the family and started becoming you, that's when you learn to stand firm in yourself. And that's the heart of this journey. It's okay to be messy. It's okay to be unfinished while becoming the version of you. The first layer you have to strip away is being the bad person. All your life you might wrestle with this question. Am I a bad person? By carrying that label, you walk into every friendship, every relationship ready to take the blame if things go wrong. Conditioned to believe that if there's conflict, disappointment, or someone leaves, it's all your fault. The idea of being a bad person is one of the hardest things to unlearn. For you, it may have started at home. You might have learned to tolerate other people intolerance of you. When people reject you, you tap dance, work harder, bend yourself, perform just to earn their love. When people don't see you, you become performative so that maybe they'll finally learn how to see you. Being a bad person is something you may have learned from your upbringing. Perhaps you were taught that nothing you did was ever right. In their eyes, you were always wrong, the liar, the one creating drama, the one being disrespectful. Nothing you did was ever framed as you being good. And because of that, you internalized it. You carry that label of, I'm a bad person, like it was your truth. When you carry a label long enough, it shapes your whole identity. You become hyper aware of your actions, always second guessing yourself, always asking, did I do something wrong? Did I hurt their feelings? Am I being too much? That's what shame does. It convinces you that your existence is a problem. That constant need to fix yourself. But what you have to learn, and what you may still be unlearning, is how to strip away that thought. You are not a bad person. You never were. You are a child craving love, validation, and acceptance. You were a young girl trying to earn approval that should have been given freely. Now, as an adult, you don't have to keep performing for people who can never see you. You don't have to keep proving your goodness to people who are determined not to realize it. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you hand over your autonomy. You give someone else power over your movement, your choices, your sense of self. Now here's the truth. You are not a bad person for saying no. There's nothing wrong with setting a boundary. And if someone mistreats you simply because you said no, the question isn't, do they love me? The real question is, do I love myself enough to say I deserve better? The next layer we'll have to strip away is guilt. And guilt for you might be layered. It shows up in two different ways. The first layer is the guilt of disappointing people. You may feel like you're letting everyone down because you're not who they want you to be. They want you to be loving in the way that never challenged them. On call, always available, always accepting. They wanted you to stay quiet while they call you out on every flaw you have. Accountability for themselves. Every time you try to speak up and every time you call a thing, the guilt floods you because now you're not just the one carrying the weight of the relationship. Whether it's family, friends, or partners, you're always the one who feels guilty for naming what's wrong. The truth is, it always been that way. You simply pointed out what was already there. But guilt has a way of making you feel like you're wrong for saying what's true. Then comes the second layer, the guilt of betraying yourself. Because when you finally get honest about a relationship, when you see how much you have tolerated, how much you have ignored, how many times you have acted blind, you always have to sit with the guilt of knowing, I allowed this. I accepted this. I even pretended I was fulfilled by this. That kind of guilt doesn't sit quietly. It keeps you up at night. It paralyzes you. Because once you strip away that belief that you're bad, here comes the next part. Stripping away relationships that once felt like your entire life. And that's heavy. Friendship, partnerships, family, they all become a part of your identity. Letting them go feel like pulling your own fingers apart. At first, your hand is tight, gripping everything you thought made you whole. But as you start to open that hand, one finger at a time, you feel the release. And as your fingers stretch wider and wider, you start to notice something you couldn't see before. Space you wasn't taking up. Space they wasn't fulfilling. Space where you thought closeness lived, but in reality, you were only holding on to people who made you feel small. People who kept you calling, kept you proving, kept you apologizing for existing. And when you finally face the truth, the guilt change. It's no longer just, I disappointed them. It becomes, how do I forgive myself for staying too long? That's the part no one talks about. The guilt of releasing what never really was yours to hold and learning how to live in the wide open space left behind. Now, I'm not going to talk too much or go too deep into this topic, but hear this. Grief is coming. And grief isn't only for when someone passes away. Grief sets in the moment your mind realizes your reality has been shattered and changed. What people don't talk about enough is how traumatizing that can be. You might find yourself so overcome with grief that even simple noises becomes too much. Maybe your children are in the living room playing, just talking, or maybe they get into a small disagreement and suddenly the sound feels overwhelming, like a pressure you cannot stand. Other times someone could be speaking right to you and you're zoned completely out. You're sitting there physically present but not hearing a single word. Grief can feel like an out of body experience. That's when you know it's time to reach out for help. Therapy, support, something. But while you may understand the grief of death, knowing that the absence is permanent, you may not know how to process the grief of losing people who are still alive. Because if you wanted to, you could pick up the phone and call. You could hear their voice, and maybe that voice could soothe you, but wouldn't change anything. The love, the friendship, the connection you long for isn't there anymore. And you have to learn to stop reaching for what isn't reaching back. Grief comes with all of that. You might feel disconnected. You may not feel like yourself. That isn't weakness, it's grief. You lost something that once felt essential to your everyday life, and now you have to walk away from it. Grief touches everything. Your work, your parenting, your friendship, your quiet moments at night. But remember this, you can survive it. You will survive it. When grief arrives, make sure you have support. If you don't have someone you trust, seek therapy. Have the courage to say, I'm not okay right now. I'm having an emotional breakdown because something I value is gone. And if you have children, know this. They notice. They're smarter than you think. You don't have to share every detail, but you can say, today, I don't feel good. I don't feel like myself. For me, it was my daughter reminding me to keep going. This thing said, Mama, you got to get up. Just because they left doesn't mean we did, and we still need you. We are still here. And I let that be my turning point, realizing that grief may be a part of my story, but it's not the last chapter. It isn't your ending. It isn't your whole identity. It's just a chapter. So when grief comes, be gentle with yourself. Cry if you need to. Scream if you need to. Take that midnight drive with the music blasting if that's what helps you breathe again. But always remind yourself, this loss is not the end of me. Eventually the grief will settle. It might visit from time to time, but it won't weigh as heavy as it does in the beginning. And when it does, find yourself rediscovering joy. Not because you've never lost, but because you choose to live anyway. Let's talk about fear. The fear of tomorrow. It's like that Tony Braxton song, Unbreak My Heart. Baby girl was singing, say you love me again. Help me uncry these tears. And honestly, that's what tomorrow can feel like. It can feel like I'm about to walk into another day, feeling like yesterday. Heartbroken, disappointed, abandoned. And I'll tell you this, when you wake up tomorrow, chances are some of the feelings from yesterday are still going to be there. But as you keep walking day by day, you'll reach a point where your tomorrows don't feel like yesterdays anymore. You'll start to become so empowered in your journey of becoming the version of yourself you always wanted to be, that the fear of tomorrow doesn't control you. The fear of rejection, loneliness, or thinking I may never find anyone like this person again, that fear will start to dissipate. Getting up to leave has nothing to do with whether the other person wants to go or stay. People will spin the block on you, but that doesn't mean they've changed. When you're in a relationship with people who don't give you what you need, who don't validate your feeling, it doesn't mean they're empty. Most times, they're getting those exact feelings or things from someone else. So when you say, this isn't working for me, they can't even see it. In their mind, you're safe. You're already giving them the stability, the loyalty, the consistency they crave. Meanwhile, you're starving for the same thing they're chasing someone else for. That's why they can't see you. That's why they dismiss you. And here's the truth. It's not up to them to decide how the relationship goes. If it's not moving in the direction you want, you have the right to say, I'm moving on. And when you decide to move on, you cannot keep going back trying to reinvent the relationship into what you wished it could be. Because 9 times out of 10, that person hasn't changed. They still don't see your view. They still not giving you what you're asking for. They're holding on to you, not because they love you, not because they respect you, but because your company feels better than no company at all. That's where their fear lies. But that's also where your freedom lies. You have to get strong enough to say, my feelings are valid, my experience is valid, and I'm choosing to move forward. And here's the beautiful part. When you wake up tomorrow, and some of the feelings from yesterday may still be there, but as you keep walking day by day, your tomorrow won't feel like yesterday. Every single day that you get up and choose yourself, every time you let go, you walk past the mirror and say, girl, I love you. I'm proud of you. You're beautiful. You're unique, and you made the right choice. Because leaving behind people, places, and things isn't about hurting yourself. It's about pushing yourself forward into the version of you that you always wanted to be. Becoming you is a routine. It's about asking yourself, what do I want today? How do I want to dress? What is my sense of style? How do I want my hair to be styled? What's my favorite nail color? What is my energy like? What is my essence like? These are all choices that reflect who you are becoming. When you're in the middle of a breakdown, it's hard to see that far ahead. You're still gripping on to what you thought you had, who you thought you were, who you thought you should be. But once you release all of that, once you move past the thing that no longer matter, you become you. And becoming you also means choosing who you want around you, leaving behind people who no longer serve you, healing, growing, and deciding who deserve to be invited into your new space. Becoming you bring clarity. Do I want a house, an apartment, a car? Am I learning financial literacy so I can make the choices I really want? Because the life you're creating no longer looks like the one you walked away from. Some people won't change for you. That's not your problem. And it doesn't mean anything is wrong with you. So keep walking your journey. Keep stepping into yourself. Deciding who you are, what you want. Don't worry about whether the people you leave behind will miss you, because you don't even miss the old version of yourself. And if you don't miss her, why would you want to hold on to people who do? Being you is a journey. Sometimes messy, sometimes quiet, sometimes loud, but always you. Today we walk through layers. The expectations others put on you, the guilt you carry, the grief of leaving behind what no longer serves you, and the fear of stepping into tomorrow. And now here you are, standing in the space that is yours. Take a moment to reflect. Who are you choosing to be? What feels true to you? Every small choice, the way you dress, the people you allow into your life, the boundaries you set, even the way you love yourself, is a step towards freedom. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need to be perfect. Being you is like standing in front of a blank canvas every morning. You get to paint the colors, the shape, the life that feels right for you. Strip away what isn't yours. Forgive yourself for the past. Step into the version of you waiting on the other side. Every choice you make to honor your truth is an act of love for yourself, for your life, and for the future you're creating. And that, my friend, is the most beautiful masterpiece you'll ever make. And again, thank you for listening to the Color Me Shade podcast, and I can't wait to see you guys again. The color of the week is lavender, and I think it's so beautiful. And don't forget, I did create you guys a playlist, so check out the playlist, okay? Because that playlist is going to smooth you into what? Another week. Again, thank you for choosing the Color Me Shade podcast. This is your host, Shay. I wish you guys a blessed and wonderful week.